Good evening, randomizer friends. How's it going? We have ourselves another hype league match tonight. It is week 2, Ambrosia Seeds. My name's Vitasia. I'm joined tonight by Reg. How we doing tonight, Reg?
We are doing great, Vitasia. We are bringing you this matchup. We've got Team Did You Check Your Boot bringing Tam to the table. Spaceballs the Rando team bringing KillerApp23 to the table. And this should be a good one. Of course, this is actually
Absolutely.
KillerApp's first race in the league. Did not play last week. Tam did play last week, played against the HXC Jetters. Unfortunately, did not win that one, but it was not that far off. So,
yeah. To fill everyone in, week 2, Ambrosia Seeds. So this is kind of an interesting little setup. We are going to have a standard mode Uncle Assured Sword, though, so we're guaranteed to have a sword from Uncle. Defeat Cannon, 7-7 normal. The boss, every single boss at every single dungeon is guaranteed to have a unique item, though. It's going to be something. It's not going to be a key or a map or compass or anything like that. So the bosses of every dungeon are going to have some value. And I believe also Uncle gives us a hint as to where the boots are as well.
yeah, the uncle will not be giving us his usual Joker pun. It will be a direct boots hint. Let's not have them in Ganon's Tower, please. Also, just to clarify a bit, you can see on the menu start screens there, Uncle's not going to be giving us the sword. We already have it.
Oh, good to know. For some odd reason, I thought Uncle gave you the sword during the sequence, but here we go. Look, boots are in Skull Woods.
All right, that's not a terrible location for them because as soon as you can get to West Dark World, you can at least get to a lot of checks in that dungeon. Of course, without the fire rod, not going to be guaranteed to get them on the first trip. And Mothula is guaranteed to have half the items in Skullwood, so 50-50 chance the Moth is just holding them outright.
One of the nice things about this mode, with it being in Skullwoods, though, is, in some modes, not having a sword is really a gatekeeper because you have to slash through those curtains. We already have a sword, so, that's at least one less hurdle we have to go through. And, of course, Uncle is going to give us our allowance right to start out.
Yeah, Uncle's a poor man today, but the chest is a little richer. And sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to make a bad joke about thievery is clearly more profitable than getting your allowance.
Yeah, right up until the moment it's not. But regardless, I wanted to talk about how with the sword in hand, the assured sword, and the boots in, Ambrosia is, in my experience, a very relaxed mode. At least as far as a randomizer race can be relaxed. You still got to find everything, but you've got the sword for immediate combat potential early, as we're seeing here on both sides with vanilla NMG style strats. And in general, it's a lot more straightforward as long as you've got the presence of mind to keep the Ambrosia restrictions in mind. Like, don't go chasing extra checks in a dungeon itself when you know the boss has less items, for example.
No, and that's a great point, and that's something that runners really need to keep in mind as they're going through here, that boss is guaranteed to have at least one of the items in the dungeon. Looks like our first tier, all the soldiers have done nothing but drop magic up to this point in time. And more 300 rupees. Wow, we're rolling in dough already.
Yeah, nice to have a ton of early cash. You can never have too much of that, but good point on the guard prize packs. It looks like the guards are very clearly just in the magic drop prize pack today, so if we're looking for a bomb before we reach the sanctuary, then our only hope is going to be the rats, because the snakes share that same prize pack.
Oh, Killer has to take a little bit of safety, but what is that? Do we already have hammer time?
Yeah. That nice trade the crappy hitbox for the tempered sword damage. Honestly, I think in this situation, that's a trade you take compared to the fighter sword, because the hitbox on that thing's not exactly great either.
True. Although I can imagine using the sword on the rats because you can get, charge it up, do a spin when you get that nice rat cluster up in the corner, just to be able to kill a few at the same time rather than, pounding the ground a bunch. But I mean, it's still a great item, and more importantly, it's one of the 3 items chain kind of that we really need to get into the Dark World, which is kind of the second level in any sort of randomizer run at this point.
Yep. Definitely a very good and important early find to have. I was talking up the weapon qualities because, well, we're in the castle, need to kill a lot of things still, but you're definitely right that I think its utility and its ability to open places up is going to be more important for most of the game here. We are making our way to the back now. We do have the small key. Have not seen the map yet. Haven't seen a prize drop. Oh, okay, that's a drop. There's a 50-50 chance now that the rats will drop 8 bombs once you get a little deeper into the pack.
I need to go back and relearn all of the prize pool kind of layouts. And a Cane of Samaria too? What? Bosses aren't going to have enough, unique items left. We're going to get them all in Escape.
Okay, rats are not going to drop bombs. What we were looking for there was a fairy drop, because that would put the rats correspond them with basically the endgame prize pack that drops like fairy, full magic, 8 bombs, and so on. But not to be today, so gonna have to wait for either a glove or for one of the runners to just get impatient and take the long walk to learn what's in those back chests.
Now, one thing we have not yet seen is, of course, the map. So, I'm sure we'll be opening up this last chest in the escape sequence in the sanctuary, which is part of the escape pool, so to speak. If it's not a map, that means it kind of reduces the overall value, but it's still 2 checks that will be very valuable, and a fetch quest.
No, that's actually the best fetch quest to get there, because we've already got the Cane of Samaria. So these guys, if they really want to, they can just fake powder as part of their Kakariko play.
Holy cow, yeah, they have everything they need to fake powder right away. You got the hammer to unlock it. Oh, what the? This is too friendly. Who rolled this?
I see that you're new to Ambrosia, let's say. Ambrosia is generally very front-loaded in my experience, then just totally degenerates into a hunt for 1 or 2 items that last for 45 minutes. This ain't over yet. Not by any means.
Oh, so what you're saying is it's rando.
Exactly.
Oh, our wonderful restreamer Amarith showing us. Technically, the bot rolled this. Okay, I see you. I see what you did there.
Yeah. And if it gets really bad, we know who the bot's manager is. Anyways, it's worth calling out no bombs in the Lost Woods, so KillerApp actually took a save and quit after checking the Lost Woods items. It's going to go for the guaranteed, well, I say guaranteed, the 50-50 bushes and just farm them as needed to get at least 1 bomb going in. Meanwhile, Tam's just taking the long walk to the tavern and not getting bombs there either.
I can understand both approaches. In one hand, KillerApp has the 1 bomb that, as long as there's nothing here in Escape, yeah, just a piece of heart, you can farm up bombs for free in the corner bombable hut. that is in Kakariko Village. That being said, we also had 2 300 rupee drops. We're not exactly hurting for cash right at the moment, so Tam's decision, just go ahead and make the long walk and buy them, might save time in the long run. There's a glove.
Yeah, okay. That glove, we're 2/3 of the way to Dark World access. And yeah, you're right that buying bombs here, perfectly valid. It's basically just a matter of how much walking do you really want to do. And for Killer App, he grabbed his bomb and he's just buying anyways. Okay then, that's actually a little interesting.
I think he was going through there hoping, hey, if I pick up 2 bombs while I'm doing the 50-50 bushes, great. Then he can go through and kind of do it uninterrupted. But because he didn't pick up 2 bombs, he only got the 1. Hey, might as well just go ahead and buy him, save the time. There's no reason to farm because you have so much money at this point in time. There's time and money are 2 resources. Money comes no matter what. If you have it, spend it.
Yeah, spend it. Just don't spend it at the potion shop while you're going to Zora.
Truth. Uh-oh, Master Sword already. Ooh boy.
Yeah, Master Sword early. In this situation, I'm just going to call it an unconditionally good thing to have. Like, you can bring up Aga all you want, but we've already got Hammer and Glove. Nobody's going to play that before Pearl. So the only real option for it is Moon Pearl on the Pyramid Ledge or behind it somehow. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that until we're actually out of checks.
And we still have a ton of checks to go too. So it's a little ways off. We have, all of the South Shore, the dam area, Agina's check, Ice Rod Cave. I'm surprised everyone's kind of bypassed the fake powder up to this point in time. We made that, we got the full pack, guys.
Yeah, Tam at this point I think has definitely bypassed it, and Killer App with that save and quit is as well, which does surprise me a little bit because, like you said, we got everything we need to do it. We were literally right there. My guess would be that they value having the full magic bar more than having that check. Because you do have... Sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, you have to empty your magic bar to actually do the fake powder. And actually, we've got the restreamer in chat calling out that the only way they've got to do that right now is the cane, which is a little slow.
Well, we found our first heart container, which is nice. It's nice. We're a little bit, sickly right at the moment. We've gone through several checks and we're only now sitting at 4 hearts. Not bad, but not great. We've seen several runs where you're already at 5 or 6 hearts even this early in the match. So we'll see if this is a portent for later in the race.
Yeah, it could be, but we're still early enough that I'm not really expecting that to be a huge problem for either runner. But I do want to see those. I want to see the Moon Pearl under the water here in the dam, just to see if either runner takes it straight to Hype Cave.
That would be nice. We didn't get it while we were in Cac Village, which I could see some runners just going right into it. But let's see what we got here. Hey, another 300.
Okay, we've got all the money we need for the seed now. Pay off Zora, pay off the monkey, the bomb shop, and the digging game. But yeah, no progression here, so gonna just keep making the early game checks. I do like the use of sword beams in this cave just to safely and relatively quickly clear out the mold orms.
Only real thing of value. I mean, we have the hearts now, so you know that entire conversation wiped clean. And then the Lagarang, which I don't care what people say, slowing down the game to be able to move, always valuable.
No, it's got new use now. Slow down the game so that you can jump in the water without splashing, and then suddenly you get fake flippers for it. I don't actually expect we will see that with the red boomerang here, but it is a thing that can hypothetically be done. So
All
now
right,
you
so Ice Rod Cave, nothing. We're going over to the Eastern Palace area. We're starting to get a little short on items.
Yeah. Eastern Palace is the end of the usual Sphere 1 checks, although it is Pendant Eastern for 2 items. Not a third because we can't kill the boss, but considering it's a pendant, I would consider that a good use of early game time. Tam's actually taking the detour to the fake flipper checks. No Moon Pearl means not going to be able to get the Waterfall Cave unless we pull it off somewhere. But can still get Zora and the hobo, can still see what's on the ledge and here on the island.
Another sword is on the island. Oh my.
That is such a silly place for a sword. Mirror plus flipper locked? No thank you.
Hey, but if you happen to be in the area and you already have to do Ice Palace, yeah, I'm gonna dive and get that before anything. And Tam, that was a pull. That sequence break. Hobo has one of our 2 bows. My goodness, that is significant.
Yeah, it doesn't actually give us anything in logic right now because we need fire to be able to reach the R modes nice logically. Tam's going to turn in the mushroom. This is immediately after a save and quit, so can still reset for fake powder if they want to. But KillerApp coming into Eastern without that bow, even if it's not in logic, that's one less item he can get knowing that that's hypothetically available to him. And then with the bow as well, that's interesting.
Fetch quest for the win. The mushroom hit our Moon Pearl, and that is Dark World access.
Yep, and Tam is taking that presumably right over to Kakariko Village, gonna just use the portal there. Hopefully get the boots out of Skull Woods in the front. Go into Thieves Town, can full clear that. And just loop all the way around to like Pyramid, Catfish, Palace of Darkness too, if they want. Meanwhile, KillerApp on nothing of note in Eastern Palace so far.
No, and it knowing that Moon Pearl is there, I mean, there's bombs, so wow, wow.
Yeah, no bailout to be had with an item hidden deep in that dungeon. Could have had something like a hook shot or a medallion that would have been really interesting to find there, but nothing doing today.
Looks like Killer, yeah, is setting up the same sort of thing. Okay, we did get a map shot. I saw Turtle Rock was another pendant. I hope our trackers have faster eyes than I do.
Yeah, I unfortunately did not catch a bit of that map check. Totally my bad there.
Oh,
Looks
Turtle
like
Rock
our.
and Misery Mire? Ooh.
Meanwhile, Thieves Town as a 5/6 crystal. That's not a bad layout. I actually I like it a lot. There's the boots.
I mean, this is still a pretty standard check that you would do for when you first enter. You know, the front part of Skullwoods is almost treated like overworld checks at some point when you first get to the Dark World. So you knew we were going to do that anyway, but knowing that the boots were in the Skullwoods area, it just really placed extra emphasis on it.
Yeah, and I'm just really relieved that they weren't on Mothula, because that would require us to find a fire rod for that, and who knows when that'll be. But since we found them, we can go fast.
Killer App is about, I don't know, minute to 2 minutes behind Tam in terms of pure, straight line progression because of his divergence over there to the Eastern Palace area. Now, Tam, depending on how things are laid out, Tam might still have to go back and do that. So even though it looks like it's pretty linear up to this point in time, it's entirely possible that Tam's going to have to go back and check what Killer App has already done.
Yep, that is time that could very easily be given back at this point. But even if it gets at least partially given back, Tam will be able to make those checks with the boots, which Eastern Palace has a lot of long straightaways that you can use those in. And on top of that, Tam will be able to kill the boss, get the item on the first trip. So if that's something, then that's not even time that Tam's giving back. And that would be interesting.
So far, nothing but dungeon items for Tam, actually, in this Thieves Town. Total of 4 items. We know Blind is going to have 1. So 3 items plus whatever's on Blind.
Yeah. Honestly, if you plan on killing Blind, which it's a crystal dungeon, I hope we plan on killing Blind. Well, that's a good item, but the number of items you find in the front really doesn't matter because you're going to walk by every single chest anyways, just between opening the attic and picking up Blind the Maiden. So, Thieves Town definitely probably the best dungeon to not have your front loaded items in, even in Ambrosia, as long as you got that hammer at least.
Yeah, that caveat with the hammer is kind of the big one. Just knowing that your big treasure chest is locked behind it, but that's it. The rest of the dungeon is fairly straightforward, and more than that, it's fairly quick. Other than this particular hellway, there's nothing that's outright dangerous or scary in this dungeon. I wouldn't even call the dungeon or the hallway scary after you've done it. It's just really interesting how quickly people do it. This is one of those dungeons that even when it's appended, it has so much potential value because of how few the requirements are in the Dark World. Most people clear it anyway.
Yep, I'm a fan of the Pendant Thieves Town. Well, let me rephrase this. I am not at all a fan of Pendant Thieves Town. The reason I'm not at all a fan of it is because I find myself full clearing it basically every seed regardless. So if you're going to do that, just make it a crystal. But yes, you're entirely correct.
I will say to this day, beyond any other boss, Blind is the one that I have the script memorized for. I am not what you would call good in any capacity, but even I have the blind.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice to actually get it down and execute it. But once you get it down, it's the same every time, so pretty straightforward. But still 2 items left here in Thieves Town as we made our way all the way to the big chest. Okay, that's 2 big items in Thieves Town. So you want to see Hookshot on blind?
Do I want to? I'm actually, you know what? I'm a fan of an early lamp just because I hate the extra brain power that goes in thinking, okay, dark rooms and what's locked behind dark rooms.
That's a totally reasonable approach. My preference is just, what's a lamp? Of course, that line of logic falls apart really hard when the fire rod is fire locked.
True. And I mean, oh, okay. Heart container.
Yeah, that.
I was going to say that line of thinking hurts me in my casual heart.
Yeah, I was hoping to see the hookshot though, just to fully complete the Swamp Palace starter pack there. So we already had mirror and flippers in the dungeon, but wasn't to be. Which, oh well. Tam's actually got good heads-up routing here to route in the 2 boots checks, the Bonk Rock and King's Tomb, with the Graveyard Ledge using the mirror. It is a lot of mirror transitions, but it is also very good efficiency.
Yeah, these 3, if you can route the 3 of them together, is absolutely amazing. And looks like Tam might even go ahead and double check to see what's going to be on this lumberjack ledge. Good heads up play. We have the boots now, so it's in logic, quote unquote. I mean, we don't have the lamp, and it doesn't look like it's anything worthwhile.
Yeah, I think we saw that on Killer App side earlier too, but definitely a good check to make when you're in the area. A lot of runners will make it when they go up the mountain for the first time if their mountain access isn't flute, but this is at least as good for that. And probably the biggest advantage of this routing is that it gives you a good excuse to just come over and check the Graveyard Ledge. A lot of runners really don't like doing that.
Yep, I can remember some tournaments of old where runners were flat out eliminated because they didn't make those checks. Real rough when it happens, but glad, you know, it's gotten enough infamy that people make the checks now. Worf asked in chat, where was the bow? Bow I mean, the sequence break is closed now, so that loop is closed, but it is being held by the hobo right now.
Yep. And Tam took that fake flipper, did not continue it on to Zora on account of no Moon Pearl. But doesn't really have that excuse now. Might route that in with Ice Palace since the portal is right there. Just use it vanilla style. And Killer App finished Thieves Town. Looks like he's going to take the same routing that Tam has. So just getting those boots checks in, the Graveyard Ledge, which I believe was our last 300 drop of the seed. And then go back around to the south route. 2 digs for a heart piece. Not bad.
Yeah, that's a real friendly dig game. I mean, Ambrosia Seed, why
Yeah. Ambrosia is, I said it before, but it's definitely the most comfortable mode in this randomizer, especially among the ones we're playing in the league.
And there's your hook shot. So, hey, why not right before we're getting to the Swamp Palace area? Let's just do it.
Yeah. Now let's see who goes straight in.
Oh, it's a crystal. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like one of those silly Swamp Palace before Hype Cave seeds, even. I mean, that one probably not, just on the off chance the fourth sword or something like that's in Hype Cave can speed up the dungeon a little bit. But would be interesting regardless.
It's interesting that of all things, we have access to clear Swamp Palace. There's blue mail. Nice. First bottle, fire shield, bombs, 10 arrows. Oh, okay, that's not. I don't know. Deferred hype, maybe, but at least 4 of 10. We get a first bottle and some armor. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's all right. It's no progression by any means, but I'm not going to complain too hard about that. Although I'm looking at the tracker real quick, and I'm looking at how few items we still need for go mode. We need the fire rod to kill Mothula. We need the mitts to get into Ice Palace and into Ganon's Tower. And then we need either the book or the flute to get into Desert Palace. And that's it.
Okay, so we still. I mean, if we get the flute, that's fine, but we still don't technically have Death Mountain access, even though Killer App is going through it right now.
Yeah, technicalities are a thing.
I'm just saying, we got to be thorough and complete. Dark rooms also are a thing, so we do not have the lamp yet. These runners, oh.
You were saying?
Commentator's blessing.
Lamp in Swamp Palace is one of my least favorite memes. Much better when it's an Ice Palace. But yes, go on.
You know what? All my points are just thrown out the window now. So, yes, one less thing. So, I mean, we need Fire Rod. We theoretically need 0 medallions because Missouri Mire and Turtle Rock.
Yep. Don't need that Ice Rod either with Turtle Rock, so that's going to save us that hunt. Trinex obviously can't be holding the Fire Rod. Although I guess he could be holding our only form of desert access this seed.
So Killer App went ahead and is going up the mountain and is in Tower of Hera. It is another crystal. Might as well. Worth noting, he did sequence break. So it's a pretty closed loop sequence break because we know where the lamp is. He doesn't know that though. So if he ends up finding the flute anywhere up here, he'll have some pretty good knowledge at that point.
Yeah. Finding the flute will keep the lamp basically out of the Mire Desert area for him. I'm not sure how much he values that item, but regardless, with what he's got in his inventory right now, especially with no hookshot, I think this is a very good sequence break for him, just for sheer item density. Especially because you don't have to clear Turtle Rock, it's a pendant. Presumably don't have to clear it at least. So you can get the crystal that's up here, can take a two-floor fall, that you can just get a lot of items.
Chat
Also,
is saying that flute was on Pumper Cave. I don't remember seeing it, but it did fly by pretty quick. So,
I saw the blue. I just assumed it was bombs. So Tam can go get that now with that pull.
What? Let's just give him go mode. Sub 40 minutes, guys. Why not?
I'm a fan. Not gonna lie, I'm a fan of that. Like, let's just have a seed where where you get all your items. There's no real like, oh, you lost the ice rod hunt. Sorry, try again next time, and just let the better player win. Like, honestly, I'm a fan of seeds like that because it rewards good play more than good luck. And while luck and routing is certainly a skill in the randomizer, I really enjoy good play because it's the part that I don't do.
I was going to say, I want my chance to win, so I appreciate good routing.
Oh, as a player, absolutely. It's just as a viewer, I
Fair.
like seeing
That's
all
fair.
the high execution play. Okay, so KillerApp's got a spin and 2 slashes, so one more spin puts Moldorm down. No trouble, no fall, no enraged phase. Good fight.
So many heart containers from bosses. That is the second crystal, though. So Killer App has the crystal lead for like all of 3 minutes, maybe.
Tam has counted items, gotten 5 so far out of Swamp, so knows to skip that waterfall chest, no matter how quick it is.
Again, that's that heads up play, knowing that this is an ambrosia seed. The boss is guaranteed to have an item.
Yep, and it's guaranteed to be a direct item too. None of this big key leading to an item in the big chest jump. Unfortunately, that spin strat mostly going well, just a couple hiccups here and there. So, yeah, just one more puff to pull, and then we'll see what the approach is. No rods, no silvers, so just gotta resort to these spins, and they'll take 4 of them with the Master Sword.
That could be a lot worse there. So GG's, big 20. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will take that cape and that lamp as a reward and go clear Desert Palace any day of the week with that. Meanwhile, on Killer App side, the East Mountain, we saw a bottle in the Spiral Cave. Not that valuable because it was the second one, so it's just safety. And it's looking like a lot of hearts in Paradox Cave. 2 full containers, 2 pieces.
And a third bottle. So that's it. Yeah, nothing. Death Mountain was, other than those bottles, nothing.
Oh, a crystal too, but yeah, that was impressively bad for Death Mountain. Tam is taking the opportunity to grab that third sword. I'm guessing it's going to be on to Palace of Darkness next, just going to swim over to the entry point here and run up. And honestly, at this point, why wouldn't you just continue the Dark World loop gravy train and get your items, especially because pod full clearable dungeon.
It looks like making a slight detour, though. Gonna check what's on the pyramid ledge. Maybe catfish? I don't know.
I'm going to say catfish seems a little unlikely just because that's a long walk back. But at the same time, well, let's see what direction Tam goes for, Isani. Okay, so it is catfish. Okay, so what I'm thinking here is catfish, then walk back to the hookshot point right here, and dash to bumper ledge from there and get the flute.
Or catfish into waterfall chests into Zora because we haven't done that yet.
Oh, yes, we have the mirror flippers. Duh, we've already done Swamp Palace. That's totally a thing. You are totally right. Yeah, I had a moment.
It's all right. I'm not allowed to be right that frequently, so let me have this moment.
It's all yours, man. KillerApp's getting his hook shot, so he can go to Swamp Palace now and full clear that if he wants to. Get a cape, get a lamp. Has he seen the bumper ledge? I can't remember.
Yes, he did see the bumper ledge. Uh-oh, Bombos and Fire Rod. Okay. Fire Rod is nice. That's another crystal dungeon we can clear.
Tam's in go mode if that flute is accurate. Or no, never mind. Mitt, sorry.
Yeah, but that does eliminate quite a bit, though.
Yep. Can't get into desert either without the mitts, but can go clear Skull Woods, can go clear Pod, could go up clear Hera. And Tam actually is running back for presumably the... Oh, never mind. I was thinking the Dark World portal that was left behind to go for that flute, but nope.
I mean, if you pick up the flute, being only, mitts as your go mode item, you could do worse. Knowing that right now the mitts is locking out 3 dungeons, 2 of which are pendant dungeons that you don't want to have to step foot in anyway. But it's also locking out Desert Palace. So you're like, okay, I can do Eastern Palace, which is a pendant, so I'm going to avoid it. Do Pod, do Hera, do Skull, and you're good. I mean, but it's got to be in one of those 3 locations, unless it's right here.
Whew. Nope. My expectation would be Palace of Darkness, just for the sheer number of items. But Tam's going to run up, presumably going to clear Skull Woods, Bumper Ledge immediately after that, because it's right next door. Activate that flute, and then probably just DM is the density play, I guess. But yeah, that Waterfall Fairy check, comboing that in with Catfish, absolutely huge with that Fire Rod.
All right, so we already got the boots. So we're really only looking for one more item.
Yep, and it is guaranteed to be on the Moth. All hail Ambrosia.
That makes this.
Yep. No need to finagle with that chest under the bridge. No need to waste time in the front. Like I've said it multiple times now, but this mode really is great if you just want to have a nice, relaxed run. And then you race it and you realize you're losing by like 10 minutes and, oh god, what am I doing?
I mean, to your point, it is absolutely true that these easier seeds that everyone can do super fast, it absolutely does make it everything more linear, but that does mean it's really easy to fall behind, so you really got to be on top of your game.
Yep. Like, the big thing about this is if you can do it fast and it's not a result of routing decisions, the good players can do it faster. That's why all the good players love having boots so much, for example.
Double boss fight, Mothula and Cold Stare.
Mothula dies as soon as it gets out of the corner, paying for its mistakes. I did not see what item that was.
Butter sword, that's our 4th sword.
Okay, so I just couldn't see it well behind or in front of the explosion.
Camouflage sword.
Yeah. And no sword advantage for either runner in the end game here, because I know Killer App's good enough at the game that even if he skips that tempered sword, he will get the tempered sword off Moth and not lose any real amount of time.
The real trick, and I think if you want to narrow down one advantage that Tam has over Killer App at this point in time, I have to narrow it down to that bow. The fake flipper check was a gutsy play at that point in time, especially when you don't have the Moon Pearl at the time that he made it. And that hobo spot is a bit out of the way, if I'm 100% honest. So knowing that Tam has it and doesn't have to go check it, Killer App has a ton of the world that he needs to check to be able to find something. And if there's not a bow already in, for example, Palace of Darkness, if and when he ends up going to that route, it could be a while before Killer App ends up going to the hobo. So I think that bow might be the difference maker right at the moment.
I don't actually agree with that, but it's more I'm expecting Killer App to go get that tempered sword after he gets the items out of Left Side Swamp here. And that will put him very close to Hobo. So he can go do that right then and not lose any real amount of time. Or he's got the mirror plus flippers. He can check that, like if he takes a normal route up to Pyramid and Catfish, he can check that on his way to the Pyramid or on his way to Palace of Darkness using that mirror spot. And the real question for me would be, does he go up to Zora's Domain for that fire rod? That's the item I would be more worried about for him.
I mean, it's an interesting point either way, so we'll be watching Killer App very closely. Tam, meanwhile, Tam knows what the score is and says, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do pod right now. I think the item dense locations, it could be up on Death Mountain, but I think Death Mountain might be a little bit more item dense. But hey, you're hoping to go ahead and clear out the dungeons while you can because you know there's going to be some sort of item on the boss. Might as well.
Yeah, like DN is the more dense location for sure, but it's not significantly more dense. And on top of that, Go Mode Palace of Darkness is a very highly variable thing. Like if the big key's in, say, the Dark Maze or the Harmless Hellway, you're almost full clearing the dungeon anyways looking for that. So not a huge loss to just go pod now when you're still looking for one item.
Well, and Worf Jig makes a good point as well. Tam probably wants to go mode, wants to be able to do Hera into Ganon's Tower, which would just be amazing routing.
Yeah, that's the sort of dream you don't get to actually do very often outside of like spoiler log races where you know that nothing's in Hera. And since we know nothing is on the mountain progression wise, as mitts are not there, and Tam knows that there really can't be any progression on Dark DM because mitts are the go mode. And yeah, that's very, very reasonable to try to do at this point in Tam's position. Anyways, Killer App is getting his bow. Went pretty much as I thought it would. And the way he mirrored from that suggests he may walk over to Palace of Darkness now. And if not, it's certainly going to be the Pyramid.
Well, and you proved me wrong, so, that's fair.
Yeah, but it still really will come down to that fire rod for Killer App, especially if the mitts are here. That's a bit of a dissuade from like going to Pyramid Catfish Sora area. Because if you get those mitts, you might think about that flute and think Misery Mire.
Well, you might think Misery Mire, you might think Dark Death Mountain. I mean, then you start thinking, because right now you're going to be able to go mode even Ice Palace. So you have to think, because you have, well, Bombos
Go
is in
mode,
play. Yeah.
Go mode, sorry. Bombos was right next to Fire Rod, though, so Go mode Ice Palace is guaranteed.
True. Okay.
Let's see. We've seen, what, 1 item in pod and 3 keys so far?
So, really going back to the back half is usually the most dense, from my experience.
Yeah. One of those keys was big. Tam's got both a big key and a small key, so this is an ideal time for the hammer jump. And there's Go mode. So yeah, at 59 minutes and 20 seconds, Tam is in a very quick Go mode.
What?
Just gotta clear out. Yeah. Gotta clear out Desert, Ice, and Hera in addition to finishing the pod that we're already in. And Tam knows it too, going straight to Helmsword King, not bothering with the Dark Maze, not bothering with anything else in the back.
Yeah, this has been a very, very friendly seed. It's even friendly by Ambrosia terms.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Pretty much everything was just right in the way if you follow it. Well, everything except really the bow and the fire rod were right in the way if you follow just normal conventional routing.
So walk me through Tam's mindset right now. On some level, you're excited because you're like, man, sub 50-minute go mode. This is great. On the other hand, you got to be thinking, sub 50 go mode. How quick did my opponent do it?
I don't think that there are really any routes this seed that were in a vacuum faster than what Tam did. Like, got the boots early, got the fire rod, did Swamp Palace in one shot, did Thieves Town in one shot, didn't dip anywhere really extraneous either. Like, didn't go into pod, didn't go up the mountain. Like, I think Tam's got to be feeling pretty good about that, and any differences there would be a perceived execution difference.
Arusta, the mitts are in Palace of Darkness, a big chest.
Yeah. KillerApp made the choice to go to Helmsword King before going to the back of pod, which I don't consider an unreasonable decision in this situation. Guaranteed item and lets you mirror out as soon as you're done with the back. But unfortunately, it's just not gonna be the progression needed. But certainly going to go back in.
Yeah, about the only thing that Tam could really hope for at this point is to like stumble across silvers at some point. Not terribly worried about it though. You got Butter Sword, and both of these runners are fully capable of doing silverless Ganon.
Yeah, at this point, you're not terribly worried. If you stumble across them, cool. If not, you just expect it to be did you find the arrows in Turtle Rock? And yeah, go on with your day.
And hey, there's the big key. We're out. Don't need to worry about anything else.
Yep, just go straight to the boss. And honestly, even if Tam weren't in go mode, this would be the correct play because we saw that red rupee on the torch.
Yep, guaranteed item on the boss.
Also, somebody in chat is saying that Tam's first SRL race was this month. I want to give massive props to Tam if that corresponds to the level of experience, because the routing and the gameplay in general have both been very, very clean and way far beyond what you would expect of somebody who has not been racing that long. So even if the experience is there from playing casually, massive props. Very well played.
No, absolutely. Big props to Tam. More importantly, big props for making the rest of us look like scrubs. Appreciate you. Seriously. Yeah. Perfect zero cycle Landmo.
Yep. Probably the only way that could have gone better is if RNG played like super kind and you managed to get 2 gold sword spin hits on all of them as they spawned, just looking at the equipment, which I don't even think you can do that in Desert Palace proper. I think that's just a Ganon Sour thing.
All I know is, he did great. He did fine. He did Landmo, the coward's way. Do it the right way, using the cane of Burna strats and bombs. That's the only real way to kill Landmo. I insist.
Yeah, that is hypothetically a thing that the game might make you do, as you are very, very well aware.
I am extremely well aware, yes.
KillerApp's about to get his flute. Now he's going to be on the fire rod hunt. So this is, like, even putting the fact that Tam is in go mode already aside, this is not a great situation for KillerApp, because this game is entirely going to come down to when does he go to Zora's Domain.
Absolutely. It might be a rough one.
Yeah, the good news is no medallions means can't go into Misery Mire. Also can't go into Turtle Rock. So there are at least a few places that you don't have to worry about digging for a fire rod in. But single item hunts, especially when they block relatively few locations like the fire rod does, yeah, they're not fun.
What I am at least somewhat concerned about, because we haven't even had to look at what the medallions are for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Let's say it's, Ether and Quake, Vanilla, and those are located in the Misery Mire Shack or in the Hookshot Cave, which KillerApp will likely end up checking at some point in time in the hunt for it. It's certainly a more, those are more dense and more popular locations than doing the Zora checks as he had previously done. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, what he does right now after this check will be telling. If he flutes to 8, he's in good shape. If he flutes to 1 or to 6, or continues along this for presumably the Smith chain, not quite so good. Tam's showing us how much damage the Gold Sword does to Cold Stare, but did get out of the corner. So not the cleanest ideal kill, but still very quick.
That's crystal number 6. Only has Tower of Hera to go. This is going to be the quickest turnaround for our favorite guessing game ever.
Yeah. Gonna be what, like basically the length of the crystal grab cutscene plus the tower open cutscene, so maybe like 40 seconds. So yeah, my advice to chat, get your guesses ready. Do not post them until the bot actually says to, though, but have them ready, because it's gonna be a quick one. And actually, while Tam climbs the mountain here, Vitasia, do you want to go ahead and just explain that so that we don't have to explain it while he's trying to fight Moldorm?
Sure, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have what we call the Ganon's Tower Big Key Guessing Game. Because it's randomizer, the Ganon's Tower Big Key could be hidden in 1 through 22, the different locations that are in Ganon's Tower in the lower half. So what you do is, as soon as the bot commands, go ahead and get your guesses. Any number 1 through 22, as long as it's a, integer. None of this pi stuff, guys. 1 through 22, you get your guesses in chat. Whoever is the closest first, you get a little something something. I think just, random internet points. High five from us in the commentary booth.
Yeah, we've got a leaderboard with the bot, so you get whose line points, and you get a shout out from comms. And you get a little bit of pride, I guess.
And really, isn't that what anything really is about? Pride?
Oh, wow. Tam not even making checks in Tower of Hera, just going straight for the Hera pot. Makes total sense, because you don't actually need the big key if you do this. That's some strategy right there.
Said, keys? We don't need no stinking keys.
Nope. You just hookshot yourself into the pot, and suddenly you're on the 5th floor. And here's a very dead worm. So that's gonna be 7 crystals for Tam. And you can now guess your big key guesses.
Do you have a guess, Rag?
I don't ever post it in chat, but when I'm asked, I usually go with number 10, just the lucky number. Tends to put it in the randomizer room with the old traditional routing that very few people seem to do anymore. But there's a lot of ways to route GT now, apparently.
Absolutely. I'm still going with 9. I am sticking with my rule of picking the same number consistently until I win with that number. It has been since the fall 2018 tournament, and I'm still guessing number 9.
Yeah, that's... You'll win it someday. But 2 down, 1 small key means we're going off to the right side. Meanwhile, KillerApp is showing us new checks in the form of Checkerboard Cave and Agena. But we know that the Fire Rod's not going to be here.
That's our 4th bottle.
Yeah, 2 of them had free red in it. That's not bad.
All right, so we're 6 checks in, and nothing going so far.
Yep. Next up will be the torch, and then we'll just make our way down the left side of the tower, starting with Stalfos room. And then, yeah, Killer App is going for Dark Death Mountain, which is a lot of checks for him. 6 checks is more than the 4 in the Zora area, the 5th if you combine it with Catfish. He's not even going to get silver arrows out of this, though, unfortunately, as that's a big key.
11. That is number 11. And by the way, number 9 was the silver arrows.
Consolation prize, right?
Wharf Jig. GG.
Yeah. Nobody else guessed 11, so nobody else gets spot shoutouts, unfortunately. But congratulations, Wharf Jig, on getting that one right.
Gonna have to ask Tam when this is all said and done. I'm curious because this has absolutely flown. This might be a PB.
Yeah. I don't know, like, if SRL technically tracks PBs, I guess, but it only tracks races done on SRL with that as the goal. So, like, if this were a PB, at least RaceBot wouldn't tell us about it. But yeah, Tam basically just straight up hit the route this seed and then played very well to boot. Also, someone in chat asking if this game is at all like the GBA version. I regret to inform you it's not. The Gold Sword is not nearly that useful. You can't flip, or you can't flute to 9. You can't bomb jump Moldorm unless you do a really silly advanced setup that I don't even know. Yeah. GBA, and actually the worst part about this compared to GBA, the lamp doesn't do damage. Like GBA for life, friends.
I mean, think of it this way. You know, that is just a more advanced version of Link to the Past. We can't even use the American release of Super Nintendo. We have to go all the way back to the 1.0 original Japanese release of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past in order for all of our fun little glitches to work properly.
Yeah, American version is, you can't fake flipper that. You can't. There's a lot of things you can't do. You can't fall into a pit and get hit after you've fallen, or get grabbed by a wall master after you've fallen. Well, Killer App's at the pyramid, checking the pyramid fairy. He checked the ledge. If Catfish is next, he'll be in go mode fairly shortly. And it looks like it is.
Good routing decision as well. I mean, if he gets this, it'll be interesting because I think if you're Killer App, you get your Fire Rod in go mode thinking, hey, I only have 2 more crystal dungeons to do. And they're both fairly quick. Go mode at 106, you're probably feeling pretty good. Until you see the dot done like 2 minutes later.
Yeah, like Killer App has not by any means had a bad run here. Like, it's been very solid all around. The decision to go up DM early was very respectable, even if it didn't pay off. Just missed that fire rod in the silly location longer than his opponent did. And then the only other thing that I can really cite, and this is strictly with the benefit of hindsight, the only other thing in his routing that I can really cite as an error would be the Eastern Palace tip for nothing very early on. But 107.5 in Killer Apps now in go mode with just got to finish Skull Woods and go clear out ice.
Yeah, still, you'd be very happy with this, all things said. And looks like he's going to be purchasing some blue potions. Meanwhile, Tam is fighting Geometry Mage. And this is even a friendly setup already. Nice double.
Yeah. This setup's a bit less friendly, but not at all unworkable. That blue ball isn't fun, though. Reduces the number of possible hits. That's
kind of out of sync right now. This is a rough spot to be in.
yeah, but that's good. That was 2 doubles, 2 singles, 4 cycles. You're not going to cry about that one. It's pretty average.
And now comes Mr. Blue Bacon himself. I don't know, Reg. Butter sword, silver arrows, blue mail. Can we really want anything else right now?
No. Like, I don't even think you need half magic, really, because when you've got silvers, you don't care about the torch glitch. Because you can more easily set up a double or a triple by not getting it. So just slash Ganon 6 times to get to phase 2, 6 more for phase 3, and then you're practically there. And yeah, Ganon has already ditched the Trident. Although Tam couldn't get the hit there because the fire bat got in the way.
You got to be a little bit careful. Ganon hugs still hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, one would kill on blue mail here, but gold sword.
I think he still has
arrows.
a fairy in a bottle.
Oh yeah, we got one of those really early, and it just never came into play this seed. So there's 1 arrow in. There's the torch glitch. Not going to be able to get a second right away or set up a double here, but this Ganon position I think will get a double. Yep, that's 4.
And now for the most dangerous 1x3 bridge in the entire game.
Yep, but Tam has no trouble crossing it and finishes in first place with a time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 15 seconds. So, big GG's in chat for Tam. Absolutely earned this one as Killer App gets to 6.
GG's to Tam, and let's see if they are ready.
Yeah, we should have. Yeah, now we have the winner of this race, Tam. GG, very clean run, very clean route.
Thanks.
Talk to me about your thought process as you're going through there. Everything just seemed to like fall right into place as you're going. Even silvers kind of fell into your lap there. What's going through your mind as you're going?
Oh, for sure. I did a practice seed earlier in the day in preparation, and I got around a 120 or something. And I was thinking in prep as I was getting ready, there's no way this seed is going to be as good as that one. I'm going to spend almost 2 hours. And then I find go mode, like everything just one after the other in my path, and I realized that it was going to be even better. So that was really good. But I was definitely nervous the entire time, thinking that Killer App was going to be all alongside me.
So just knowing where everything was this seed, what would you expect most for Killer App to have gotten tripped up on?
I did actually go and have a look at the stream, so I'm aware that it was the fire rod, but
all right.
Yeah, it would probably be that, or maybe he got to the moon pearl late, because that was the mushroom, so I can understand if he hadn't have done that earlier. Yeah, every other item seemed to just be, as I was doing dungeons, they were just in my path. It was very easy to find.
Yeah, I believe you saw that flute on the bumper ledge immediately after your first dip of Skull Woods. Then the mirror, the flute, were both in Thieves Town. The hook shot was on the way to Swamp. So you just follow the path the game gave you, and it set you up very, very well.
Exactly. I almost went to pod earlier, but I figured when I got the cape, I would just get the flute in case it was required, because I wasn't sure yet, and then just flute 5 so I could do pod then, which ended up working out, because if I had full cleared pod, it would have been worse.
Yeah, the good news is that a full clear of pod wouldn't have been a huge time sink. You got about, I would say probably about 60% of the way through it, just getting to the mitts, even with that hammer jump. Got most of the front and got into the back. But yeah, definitely pulling that go mode was able to save you a fair bit of time there, just having to backtrack through the maze even a good couple minutes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tim, is this officially PB for you?
It is. Not only is it a PB in time, it's a PB in collection rate. I ended up under 100, which is absolutely insane.
I think this is literally the first like actual 7 crystal goal race I've seen come in under 100. Although, spoilers, yeah. Your stream is not quite there yet.
It's time for everyone who was waiting in anticipation.
Yeah. Well, that's half magic on the Master Sword pedestal, so no chance of finding that just in your way. And that's pretty much the only thing that didn't fall in your lap this seed.
Yeah, I was thinking it would have been nice to find the powder because I was very low on health, and I forgot I had the fairy in the bottle actually, so I dipped the GT coward room, but it might have cost me the sub 70 minutes, but it was still very cool.
Actually, that reminds me. We had hammer plus cane plus mushroom coming out of the castle, and we didn't see fake powder. Was that just takes too long to empty the magic?
I realized after I left Kakariko that was a possibility, and then I figured probably it wasn't worth it anyway. The magic, and I don't really like buying potions. I didn't have a bottle of it, but I'm not sure if I would have done it.
Well, with the pearl being on the mushroom and neither of you actually turned out to do that in Kakariko, that's something that'll just remain unseen. Whatever it was probably junk regardless.
Well, I found basically everything.
Yep.
I mean, it was probably Ice Rod, and you just avoided like all sorts of drama in Turtle Rock. That's my headcanon at this point.
Yeah, it was really nice that mitts were my go mode, because in my last race I got mitts before go mode, which ended up in me clearing a lot of mitts checks, which were all useless. So I was definitely pleased when I got the fire rod and knew that I would never have to go into my Turtle Rock, or even ice, or the smith chain, or anything.
Yeah, something like that definitely feels... It just feels really good psychologically. Like, even if you're racing and you have a hunch that your opponent may be in the exact same situation, it's like just knowing for your own benefit that you don't have that rabbit hole. I'm a fan. Anyways, KillerApp has made his way into Ganon's Tower, taking a left side burst, so gonna get that big key actually in his first few checks here, in addition to presumably the silver arrows. And after that, it'll just be a quick tower climb for him as well.
Well, I almost had a hunch that I was going to get the silver arrows just based on... It felt like one of those seeds where you were going to get...
Yeah, we were discussing it at some point, and I was basically like, either they're in your way or they're like in the depths of Turtle Rock, and Ganon will tell you, and you're just like, yeah, I was never going to see those, oh well.
Yeah, I figured with how much I didn't do, there was no point checking things like Super Bunny for them, because they could be pretty much anywhere. But I got them anyway, so that was a relief for sure.
Yeah. Like, I've got to imagine that your silverless Ganon fight is probably pretty clean considering the rest of your play, but it fits the theme of Ambrosia just not have to do something like that. Just fit the more casual, relaxed style with the free sword, the boot scent, and so on.
I can definitely do silverless, but I'll obviously take the time saving.
Yep. strongly agree with that. And geez, 94 collection rate. That is absurd no matter how you look at it.
Well, we stop and think about all the different things that you were able to skip. Most of Palace of Darkness, even though it was loaded, you got that relatively early in the checks. All of Death Mountain, my goodness. All of Ice Palace you were able to skip, and then Turtle Rock and Misery Mire, you could skip all of those. Eastern Palace you didn't step foot in. So many overworld checks that were mitts locked you didn't even have to do. Yeah. It makes sense, but at the same time, even when it makes sense, 94 is obscene. My God.
The Death Mountain skip is definitely not something you see every day, but it was really nice to be able to.
Yeah, and along the same lines, just the immediate Harapot in Tower of Heron, knowing you were in go mode, didn't need a big key at all. Like, you don't see that every day, even when you know that you're in go mode. Although I think that falls a lot more on Harapot being a more recent deck, and how often do you go mode Hera. But I was impressed by that. That's something that you've got to keep that in mind, otherwise you're just going to muscle memory your way into checking for the big key. KillerApp is now through the torch room, well, the first torch room. He's got to make his way through torches 2. Will not have to grab a key off the mini Helmasaur. And he'll be into Moldorm 2, where he'll be able to put a fairly quick end to this seed.
Yeah, I gotta feel for him a little bit, because he's gonna end with an insanely quick time of his own, but still to be so far.
Yeah, like, when you come in, like, I don't see any way short of some silly accident that he doesn't finish in before like 125 or so. And when you finish that quick and you still lose by like 15 minutes, that just feels really, really bad. Which is a shame for just how good this seed was overall, how friendly it was.
Yeah, I'm usually ecstatic with a 1.
I think you would be rightfully ecstatic with 125 normally. But this one was just, man.
It was something else for sure.
So,
this is a seed I'll remember.
So Tam, help me out here. Is this the first race from your team this week?
It is. My teammate Wolfjig will be playing on Saturday.
Sounds like a party. He's been in chat throughout the whole time and had fun hanging out there, so good to see teammates supporting each other. And then, yeah, KillerApp is done with Agitude. Did pull a triple on the first phase, but I think he only took 3 phases overall. Because he got that triple and then didn't need the 4th, but still. I think he's under 90 seconds from done at this point. Just judging by how your Ganon fight went, Tam. And yeah, Gold Sword makes the 1 cycle on those first 2 phases of Ganon really nice and easy. So on to phase 3, just gotta cut Ganon a couple more times, and then it'll be Silver Arrows.
Ganon was also very cooperative today. He didn't walk.
Yeah, that always helps pull down times a little bit. Yeah, he wisely chose not to attempt a double there. I don't think he would have made it. So just 3 single shots and then a 4th here. And that'll be Killer App's done as soon as the fanfare ends. Unfortunately, I'll just say in advance, Killer App will not be joining for an interview today. So that will pretty much be that once the credits finish rolling. And Killer App is finished with a time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 32 seconds. Incredibly solid time overall. Just unfortunately missed that fire rod for a bit longer. Had an extra Eastern Palace dip. Put him a little bit behind. And obviously, Tam, you basically just hit the route this seed. Like, there's no other real way to describe that.
Yeah, GG's Tam. Obviously, still the.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, I think I've hit all the discussion points I had in mind for interviews. Is there anything else, Viteja, you wanted to discuss? Or
No, I mean, that was just an amazing race. Tam, GG's to you. I do want to give a shout out to our wonderful restreamer, Amaranth, doing lots of work behind the scenes. Also, Dark Diplomat for doing all the tracking behind the scenes. Thank you both so much. Doing everything behind the scenes that make us look good. Thank you guys so much. There's still a ton of league races that are going on tonight. Make sure that you're following Speed Gaming 1 through 6 for all of the different speed gaming events that we have going on, as well as the ALTTPR League for even more. There is, as we're speaking right now, on Speed Gaming, the original, we have, it looks like Adirondack Rick versus Lavin Firestorm is going on, and another one on ALTTPR League 2 that's about to start, Relkin versus Hobo Gym. So there's just all sorts of races going on tonight. Lots and lots of rando. If you want to get in on that, feel free to dive in.
Yep, and in addition to those 2 matches you've mentioned, starting in about half an hour on Speed Gaming 2, we've got Rywek versus Coravane. And starting about 15 minutes after that on Speed Gaming 4, we've got Xylo Price versus Fatboy 300. So no shortage of rando over the next few hours. No shortage of rando tomorrow or the rest of the week either. This league format means we have got 64 matches a week, and we are trying to restream as many of them as possible for everybody's entertainment.
My goodness, all the rando, all the time. I'm so happy to be back. This is so much fun. I love this.
Yep, it has definitely been a blast so far, and we are only a bit more than halfway through week 2. Still got about 5 more weeks of this, and then playoffs for the teams that make it. But
and it's the only playoffs that are going on.
Yeah. I think with all that said, I've been Reg. My partner tonight on the mic has been Viteja. And yeah, that's about it. We'll be seeing you guys over some other race. Just make sure follow the runners, follow the tracker, follow my CoCom, follow the Speed Gaming channels and the DALTTPR League channels.